this on late?
Send this.
For millions of people around the world, the names Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz will forever be linked to laughter. On screen, they were the unforgettable couple Lucy and Ricky from I Love Lucy, a show that changed television forever and made audiences believe in a love story filled with chaos, comedy, and endless charm. But behind the cameras, their real life together was far more complicated than any sitcom plot. They built an empire, revolutionized the television industry, and became one of Hollywood's most famous couples. Yet when the laughter faded and the studio lights went dark, the life they had created together slowly began to fracture. The same couple who taught the world that love could survive through laughter were quietly struggling to find that same happiness behind closed doors. Their story began in 1940 when a fiery red-haired actress and a charming Cuban bandleader met on the set of the RKO film Too Many Girls. Lucy was already working steadily in Hollywood, while Desi had gained attention performing in the Broadway version of the musical. On paper, they seemed like an unlikely pair. Lucy usually dated older men, and Desi was actually engaged to someone else when they met. But none of that mattered once they came face to face. The attraction was immediate and powerful, the kind that neither of them even tried to resist. Within just 6 months, they eloped in November of 1940, beginning a whirlwind marriage that would soon become one of the most talked-about relationships in Hollywood. Yet almost from the beginning, distance and pressure crept into their lives. Desi spent long stretches touring the country with his band, performing in nightclubs while Lucy worked on film sets and promotional tours. Their schedules barely overlapped, and they often felt like strangers passing each other in the middle of the night. Lucy dreamed of building a stable family life, but those early years were filled with heartbreak, including several miscarriages that quietly weighed on her. At the same time, rumors of Desi's drinking and late-night lifestyle began to circulate. By 1944, the strain became unbearable and Lucy filed for divorce, convinced their marriage could not survive the chaos. Yet somehow, after time apart and long emotional conversations, they found their way back to each other, determined to try something different instead of walking away. That decision would change television history. In 1948, Lucy began starring in the radio comedy My Favorite Husband, and the show quickly reminded audiences of something Hollywood had often overlooked: Lucille Ball was brilliantly funny. When CBS considered turning the radio hit into a television series, Lucy agreed to the idea on one condition: Desi had to play her husband. Network executives were skeptical. They worried that audiences wouldn't accept an American housewife married to a Cuban bandleader with a thick accent. But Lucy refused to compromise. Instead, she and Desi went on a touring comedy act to prove their chemistry to live audiences. Night after night, the crowds roared with laughter, and soon the network realized the public loved seeing them together. In 1951, I Love Lucy finally premiered, and television was never the same again. Within months, the show became the #1 program in America. Lucy's fearless physical comedy had audiences in stitches, while Desi brought warmth, charm, and musical energy to the role of Ricky Ricardo. Behind the scenes, they also made revolutionary business decisions. Through their company Desilu Productions, they insisted on filming the show on high-quality film rather than broadcasting it live. That choice allowed them to keep ownership of the episodes, something almost unheard of at the time, and it later created the entire concept of television reruns and syndication. Together they weren't just stars, they were pioneers who reshaped the entire television industry. But while their professional success soared, their personal life continued to struggle. Running a massive production company while starring in the most popular show on television placed enormous pressure on both of them. Desi often felt overshadowed by Lucy's enormous popularity, and the old problems, drinking, late nights, and rumors of infidelity, never fully disappeared. After 20 years of marriage, the tension finally reached a breaking point. In 1960, shortly after finishing the Lucy-Desi Comedy Hour, Lucy filed for divorce. What had once been Hollywood's most exciting partnership slowly unraveled behind closed doors. Yet even after their marriage ended, something unexpected survived: their friendship. Both eventually remarried and moved on with their lives, but they remained connected through their children and through the extraordinary legacy they had built together. Over time, the anger faded, replaced by a quieter respect and affection. Decades later, when Desi was diagnosed with lung cancer in 1986, Lucy visited him and the two spent time watching old episodes of I Love Lucy. In those moments, the laughter from the past seemed to echo back through the years. Just 2 days before Desi passed away, the two spoke on the phone one final time. His voice was weak, but the words between them were simple and sincere. Lucy told him she loved him, again and again. Desi softly answered that he loved her too. It was a goodbye between two people who had shared a lifetime of memories, both beautiful and painful. He died on December 2, 1986. 3 years later, in April 1989, Lucy herself passed away after suffering a ruptured aortic aneurysm. In the end, the story of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz didn't close like a sitcom with a perfect ending. Instead, it ended the way many real love stories do, with complicated memories, lingering affection, and a bond that never completely disappeared. They may not have remained husband and wife, but together they created something timeless. Long after the cameras stopped rolling, the laughter they gave the world continued to live on.